When we think about the scientific revolution, a few huge names always pop up, right? But what if I told you there was another guy, a total polymath, whose work is literally the foundation for so much modern science, but he just rarely gets the same kind of headline? Well, today we're going to fix that. Right. Newton, gravity. Galileo, the telescope. We all know the stories. But back in the 17th century, his own colleagues, the brightest minds of the era, gave Christiaan Huygens this incredible title, the new Archimedes. I mean, that's some serious respect. So why on earth isn't his name as famous as the others today? Just look at this list for a second. It's absolutely staggering. This isn't a specialist who did one great thing. This is a mind that just attacked the biggest problems of his day, from how time works to what light is. He was a physicist, an astronomer, a mathematician, an inventor, all rolled into one. Seriously, with a resume like that, where do you even begin? Okay, let's start with a problem that was driving everyone crazy in the 17th century, from sailors trying not to get lost at sea to astronomers trying to map the stars, and that was the problem of time itself. Think about that for a second. 15 minutes a day. That's not just a little annoying, it's a total disaster if you're trying to calculate longitude or time a celestial event. Timekeeping was, to put it mildly, a mess. And solving this wasn't just about convenience, it was about unlocking the next phase of human exploration and science. So this is where Huygens has this just brilliant idea. He sees the regular, predictable swing of a pendulum and realizes that's the key. He figured out how to harness that steady motion to regulate a clock, and in one fell swoop, he took an error of minutes and shranked it down to just a few seconds a day. It was a complete game changer. And get this, for nearly 300 years, the pendulum clock, his invention, was the most accurate timekeeper on the entire planet. That's a legacy that goes from the age of pirates all the way to the 1930s. Incredible. So after basically conquering time on Earth, Huygens turned his attention and his awesome homemade telescopes up to the heavens. And he focused on the weirdest-looking planet in the sky, Saturn. You have to understand, for years, astronomers were just completely stumped. When Galileo first looked at Saturn, he thought it had ears or maybe two big moons stuck to its sides. But then those ears would vanish and reappear. Nobody could figure out what was going on. It was one of the great astronomical mysteries of the time. And then Huygens comes along, and the solution he comes up with is just so simple, so elegant, it's beautiful. With better telescopes that he and his brother actually built themselves, he didn't just see better, he thought better. He proposed this perfect explanation that accounted for everything they were seeing. The rings look different because of their tilt relative to us here on Earth. He nailed it. Case closed. Okay, so he's solved a huge problem in mechanics and a huge problem in astronomy. What's next? Well, he turns to one of the most fundamental questions in all of physics, and this is the one that would put him on a collision course with the other giant of the age, Isaac Newton. So, the big question, what is light? Is it a stream of tiny little bullets or corpuscles, as Newton believed, or is it a wave spreading out through space, which was Huygens' idea? Newton's view was the heavyweight champion, backed by his massive reputation. Huygens, well, he was the underdog with this radical competing theory. So, Huygens publishes his treatise on light, and in it, he lays out this comprehensive mathematical theory for light as a wave. It explained things like reflection and refraction perfectly, but nobody was buying it. The scientific community just wasn't ready. Newton's theory was king, and Huygens' brilliant work on light was pretty much ignored. And this timeline, right here, this is what really shows you how far ahead of the curve he was. He comes up with his theory, but it takes more than 100 years, long after he's gone, for other scientists to finally do the experiments that prove him right. He was so far ahead of his time that it literally took the rest of the world 120 years to catch up. So, we've talked about time, we've talked about space, we've talked about the nature of light. When you put it all together, you realize his entire career was just this unbelievable string of foundational breakthroughs. I mean, it's just incredible. He was the first to do all of these things. He wrote the first book on probability theory, inventing a whole new field of math. He was the first to get the physics of collisions right, something even Descartes couldn't do. He discovered Titan. Oh, and the formula for centrifugal force? Yeah, that was his too, a decade before Newton. Any one of these would be a Hall of Fame career for a scientist. Huygens did them all.
Look, in the end, Huygens isn't just some footnote in a textbook. He is a fundamental pillar of the scientific revolution. His work is baked into so much of the physics that came after him. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If a giant like Huygens can be so easily overshadowed, who else is out there, waiting in the pages of history for us to rediscover?